Hello, Year 7, and welcome along to our next lesson where we're thinking about algorithms and programming. And today we're going to think specifically about algorithms. And we'll start off by thinking about what have you done before you've come to school today? Think about your morning routine. What do you do in the morning? Now, I know what my morning routine is. First thing I'm going to do is open my eyes, turn off my alarm, and I'm going to get out of bed. My feet are going to hit the floor, and I'm going to go downstairs. And I'm going to make some breakfast. And every day, that pattern of instructions is followed every time. That's like an algorithm for my morning. Now, yours might be slightly different, but I'll bet most days are the same. Most days you follow the same pattern, do the same things. And if I wanted you to, I could get you to write down a set of instructions that would tell me the pattern of instructions, the order of events that happen in your morning, all the way down to how you get to school. Now, we could call this an algorithm. An algorithm is just the word we use in computing to describe a set of instructions that's followed by a computer. We're going to dig a bit more into that today. So when we think about this algorithm in a computer, we can represent it as a diagram. If we have a look at the diagram here, we've got an input on this left-hand side. So this is an instruction that comes from the user. So the person using the computer usually inputs something. The computer then follows an algorithm. An algorithm might be one instruction, it might be 10 instructions, it might be 100 instructions, but they can all make up one algorithm that results in the output. So what is the outcome of the program? We could think about a really simple input-output where you click on Google Chrome, the computer follows the instructions to open up that browser for you. Okay? Input was the clicking of the icon, output was the opening of the browser, but the algorithm, the bit the computer did in the background, is what got us from the input to the output. These are the processes the computer has to follow. Now, we're going to have a think today about an algorithm that's one that we follow as people, not one for the computer. So I want to watch this next instruction, this next video, because you're going to write an algorithm all about it. So when we're thinking about an algorithm, there are two really useful questions to answer. What's the final goal? And then what are the individual steps? So for my first example, the final goal was to get to school. And the individual steps were open your eyes, turn off the alarm, get out of bed, go downstairs, make your breakfast, get changed, get in the car, drive, whatever it is. Those are the individual steps, all leading from the start to the end where I get to my final goal. And today I'm going to ask you to create an algorithm that describes making a jam sandwich. Now, it hasn't got to be a jam sandwich. If you want to make a different kind of sandwich, that's totally fine. But there might be some people there who are unsure how to make a sandwich. So in this next slide here, we've got a short video on how you can do that.
Instructions on how to make a jam sandwich. You will need a pot of jam, butter or margarine, a loaf of bread, a plate, and finally a knife. Place the plate on the table and put bread on top. Then, using the butter or margarine, spread it over the bread. Then spread the jam over the butter. Then place the bread on top of each other and cut into triangles. Then eat the sandwiches. Now that is how you make a jam sandwich.
Now, I know that was a very technical video with lots of challenging vocabulary, but I'm sure you're up to the task. So let's have a look at how we're going to do this today. Well, we're going to represent our algorithm as a flowchart. And so here on the right hand side, we've got an example of a flowchart. It's a very basic example, but it is an example of a flowchart for how to make a jam sandwich. We've got the start up here at the top. We've got arrows that show me which way I should go. And I've got an end at the end. We can see it's get 2 slices of bread, put butter on one side of each of the slices of bread, put jam on the slices of bread on top of the butter, and then I've got end program. Now, I would suggest that's a bit too basic, and there are some steps missing from that program, but it gives you an idea of the sort of thing we're looking for. So I'd like to draw your attention to a couple of things in this example flowchart. For a start, we've got this shape here. This shape here, the oval, is what we use for the start and the end of the program. I'd like you to do the same. So at the start of your algorithm and the end of your algorithm, let's have an oval. These rectangles are used for processes. And that should be all that we need today is the start and the start oval and the process rectangle. And then just make sure that our arrows go in the right direction. So we should have one line of arrows that go from start to finish. Okay. The second thing I'd like us to think about is this is designed for a computer. This is designed for something that doesn't know anything about jam sandwiches or any kind of sandwich. You can't assume anything. So you might want to include extra details that you wouldn't include for a person. So for example, you might say to a person, get out the bread. You might have to say to a computer, open the cupboard, reach into the cupboard, get the bread, open the bread packet, remove 2 slices, put them on the plate. Oh, hang on, we haven't got the plate out. Get the plate out of the cupboard. Now put the bread on the plate. So try and think like that. Try and think, what are the individual steps? The more you can break it down, the better your algorithm will be. Okay, so we've got the shapes, but also break down those steps. Let's have a quick look at our success criteria. So, first step, the bronze, was what I said a couple of slides ago. Identify the goal of your algorithm. So what is it at the end of our algorithm we are trying to achieve? Big clue here. Okay. Write the individual steps of your algorithm in order. That's this here, where you've got your processes and your arrows. Then I've got the gold is include multiple options. If you're going to include an option, and you're going to do the gold, then you use a diamond shape. And the diamond is allowed 2 arrows that come off it. So if you've got an option, so for example, if you're making a sandwich where you've got a choice of jam, would you like strawberry or raspberry jam? You might have one diamond that goes off to strawberry, one that goes off to raspberry. Okay, that's how you would do your gold. That's a bit of a challenge. And then the challenge here is to create an algorithm for the game heads or tails. So if you manage to complete the flowchart for making a sandwich, including a diamond for multiple options, then you can have a go at doing the same thing for a game of heads or tails. Okay, I would recommend doing this on Publisher because you can insert shapes very easily and you can right click and add text to the shape as well. So your vocab is algorithm, instructions, input, and output. Best of luck with today's work. I'm looking forward to see how you get on.